What is up, peeps? For the win, TCG here, and I'm talking you back to another YouTube video. And today we have something different. We have a commentary video. We are indeed going to be speaking about stadium cards. Are we heading into a very stadium heavy meta, or are we in one right now? Right, so in this discussion, I will be bringing up things like the brand new Prism Star stadiums that are heading to be released. The first one coming out in Los Thunder, the set that's due to release on the first Friday of November. And of course, we'll talk about our current stadiums and see what exactly is going on right now. Right, so let's actually bring out the stadiums that are currently seeing play. I won't mention them all because I think most stadiums are seeing play naturally in specific decks, but I'll bring up the ones that have more broad use. So things like Brooklet Hill, which will be used in Lapras, Buzzwole, you know, stuff like that. We also have Devoured Field, which is played in Zorak lists. We've seen it in some Rayquaza GX lists and stuff like that. And of course, it's also played in the Garchomp list every now and then. We also have Shrine of Punishment, one of the most prolific stadiums right now that I think is one of the keys to the current meta we have with stadium cards, played in spread decks and non-GX decks. Now, with these current stadium cards, some of them are seen playing specific decks. You've got Altar of the Moon in Malamar occasionally. We have... what else is there? Aether Paradise and Bulu decks. So we have stadiums that are seeing play here and there, but they tend to be relied on a lot more now than they were before. And as I said, I think Shrine of Punishment has a big part to play there, because I said this in a video before, you can't play 4 Field Blowers to take out 4 Shrines. So if you're coming up against a Shrine deck, usually play a mixture of like 2 Field Blowers, 2 Stadiums, or you just play Stadiums yourself that benefit your deck as well as act as a counter Stadium to the Shrine of Punishment if you are playing a GX deck. So I feel like Shrine of Punishment played a very big role in making the current stadium meta we're in now. So all it takes is an overpowered stadium card. So with that said, we now have I believe it's 4. I don't know if there is any more, but I think there's only 4 known right now. Stadium Prism Star cards that are just as, if not more, overpowered than Shrine of Punishment coming out. So would that reinforce decks or encourage decks that don't play stadiums or play less of stadiums to increase their size of stadiums they play, or actually introduce stadiums into their deck, therefore making a stadium-based meta? I think that's very possible. Let's actually go over the stadiums that are due to release. We have Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star. So Wonder Labyrinth Prism Star has the effect of each player's Pokemon in play has 1 colorless more on their attack except for fairy Pokemon, if I'm correct. So that's what it does. And one thing I need to know, these Prism Stadium cards can't be removed from field by Field Blowers. So items and supporters, so Field Blowers, and there's another supporter coming out that removes stadiums. Forgot which one it was, but that also can't have any effect. So it's a lot harder to get out of play. So we have the fairy one that makes everyone's attack except for fairy Pokemon cost 1 more. That is basically the ability on Gumi, which is busted because there's a deck based around Gumi just because it has that ability. So making your opponent's attacks cost more makes Zorak cost for free energy, which just makes it super awkward. Now there are decks that won't be too affected like Malamar per se, but this is something that is just really overpowered. We also have the Black Market Prism Star. So I have it all in front of me, so I will be reading it off here. So the Black Market Prism Star is whenever each player's dark Pokemon with a dark energy attached to it is knocked out by damage from the opponent's attack, they take 1 less prize card. That is busted. If you have Zorak with a dark energy, they're taking 1 prize for knocking it out rather than 2. If you're playing a Weavile with a dark energy attack, if it's knocked out with this stadium in play, your opponent doesn't take a prize. Again, absolutely busted. So that's another one that's coming into the format soon. We have Thunder Mountain. This one is quite simple. The attack of each player's lightning Pokemon is 1 lightning less. This is also pretty damn busted because it gives free attacks to cards like, you got Raikou who can use the acceleration attack for free. It makes cards like Zeraora GX, it makes it a 2 energy attachment attack rather than a 3 energy attachment attack with this in play. It is incredibly broken, making it cost 1 less. Ignore that. It seems like in every video that speaker says power off. I'm sorry. So that is also pretty damn busted. And we have the one that's coming out in Los Thunder, Heat Factory. This is the one I think everyone knows the most. It's pretty much the same as, I forgot what that stadium actually is called. Scorched Earth, that's the one, I completely forgot. So Scorched Earth, it's the same as Scorched Earth, but you discard a fire from your hand and you draw 3 cards rather than 2. You don't get to discard the fighting energy. So it's similar to Scorched Earth in a sense where it allows you to discard a fire and draw, but it doesn't do the same for fighting. So just again, incredibly busted. But the thing is, you need to bear in mind, all of these cards are only 1 of. They are Prism Stars. So they're not going to be 4 of like Shrine of Punishment. Shrine of Punishment is just as busted as these cards, except Shrine of Punishment gets to be played as a 4 of rather than a 1 of. I personally think Shrine of Punishment should have been a Prism Star Stadium. It is a bit too powerful in my opinion. With that said, we already have a meta-defining stadium card of Shrine of Punishment in the current format. And then you chuck these bad boys in, we are going to have stadiums everywhere. They're going to be decks that are playing stadiums just for the sake of countering these stadiums. Would there be decks that are reliant on these stadium cards? I don't think so. There may be a deck that uses, for example, Black Market Prism Star and non-GX Pokemon to effectively stop your opponent from ever taking a prize card if they don't get that stadium out of play. I'm sure there's decks that will rely on Thunder Mounting to allow free attacks to be used that wouldn't initially be free, or to remove an extra energy attachment. So there may be decks that rely on these Prism Star cards. But I don't think that's very probable, considering it's a Prism Star means you only play 1 of. So relying on 1 card that can be discarded in a certain way, and is likely to be discarded in a stadium meta, then I don't think there'll be decks that rely on it, but nonetheless there may be. If we do go into a stadium heavy meta, specifically with these Prism Star cards, there is going to be an increase either in stadium cards or an increase in Pokemon techs that can remove stadium cards. We could see things like the Celestial Storm Groudon seeing play. That has an attack for fighting in a double colorless energy that does 50 damage, and I believe it allows you to remove a stadium card in play and do an extra 50 or an extra 60. I'm not too sure. I haven't got the card in front of me, but I know that card exists and it can remove a stadium card in play. Now, it may be a bit of both. You may have a deck that techs in a Groudon, although teching in a card with a free energy attachment, specifically fighting energy in double colorless, is a bit awkward. When you tech a Pokemon, you want it to be a single energy attachment attack, hence it being a very quick and easy tech. That's what makes it a tech Pokemon. So maybe it might see play, but I doubt it. I think there will genuinely be an increase, an actual increase in stadium cards in most decks, and the introduction of stadium cards to a lot of decks that don't play stadiums. So I reiterate my point, we are heading to a format where a stadium will always be in play, and there will actually be decks not focused on dealing with stadiums, but decks that rely on stadiums, as well as every single deck out there having a way to deal with this. Considering we're going to be entering a stadium meta, in my opinion, I genuinely think that decks will have to find a way to deal with it, and you just can't simply ignore it. So it will change the format quite a bit as these stadiums do come out. So yes, my current prediction right now is decks will be playing stadiums that don't play stadiums, and there will be an increase in stadiums in decks that do. So I think that will be the case, just to deal with these incredibly overpowered stadium Prism Star cards. With that said though, I could be completely wrong. You never ever know. It's quite unpredictable right now, the format and the way it is going. It's very unpredictable since the rotation. With that all said, let me know your thoughts in the comment down below. Do you think I'm correct? Do you think that there will be an increase in stadiums being played as soon as these Prism Stars are released? Do you think we are already in a stadium heavy meta with the things I've mentioned, like Shrine of Punishment and Brooklet Hill seeing play? Do you think that this is a good thing? Do you think it's quite interesting having stadiums take a bigger role now in the TCG than it did in the past? Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear them and have a chat with you about it. Other than that, if you did like this video, do obviously leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and gameplay videos. I do upload daily during the week, and I do one live stream during the weekend, so you can come and join then as well. Other than that, I will leave you to it. Thank you very much for watching, and peace.